Good morning, FFN crew. Good morning to everybody who's joining me right now. I'm pumped to be here because it is week 8 fantasy football on Sunday, guys. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. So we're doing our normal live stream on Sunday morning. We're answering any and all, as many as I can, week 8 fantasy football questions before the Sunday games start, guys. I'm so happy for you guys to be here with me today. So thank you for joining. And what we're going to do is what we always do. I go through some important injury news and updates here before the games actually start, and then we're going to start going through questions. So, guys, start putting in your questions. The chat's already filling up a little bit here. So I'm going to start going through some news and notes right now. But please like the video and subscribe to the channel to show your support. I greatly appreciate you guys every single day. So let's go ahead and get into some injury news here for week 8. Week 8, there's lots of injuries out there right now. Obviously, the big one being that Brock Purdy is the first player this year to beat the concussion protocol the same week that he got it. So Brock Purdy is in. Sam Darnold is out. Brock Purdy is in. So if you, by chance, picked up Sam Darnold and you need to get Brock Purdy back in there, go do it. Because I did that earlier this week in one of my deep leagues. I was about to play Sam Darnold. I don't have to do that anymore, luckily. So that's a good sign for sure. Here's some other injury news and notes here. So Robert Woods of the Texans, he's out today, Texans and Panthers. And then there's no other really big news there. Either way, you weren't going to start Robert Woods, but all that does is just continues to push up guys like Tank Dell and guys like Nico Collins. Nico Collins is already the number one. But Tank Dell is going to be a legit play against the Panthers today. And I'm curious to see how many Tank Dell questions I get today. So that's one of the big ones right there. Let's keep on moving through, see what else we've got over here. So we've got, of the Saints and Colts today, Michael Thomas, Taysom Hill, they're both questionable. So Michael Thomas and Taysom Hill, I haven't really seen much news on whether they're going or not. Taysom Hill, like I said earlier in the week, I think Taysom Hill's a good start right now. I really do. I think Taysom Hill's a very good start in fantasy football. So just keep an eye out. Let's see if we can get a Taysom Hill update specifically right now. Taysom Hill. I haven't seen anything yet on Taysom Hill. The good news is it is a noon game today, Central. So we should know more about Taysom Hill's status here in the next couple of minutes right now. What else have we got? So Daniel Jones is out again. So obviously they're going with Tyrod Taylor yet again. Whether that affects your outlook on Saquon Barkley, Wan'Dale Robinson, I don't think it should. They're basically been performing about the same. And you could argue that Tyrod Taylor's been better than Daniel Jones this year. So it really doesn't affect any Giants options at all. Darren Waller is questionable, though. Darren Waller was dealing with a hamstring injury all week, and that's a problem because if Darren Waller doesn't go, this is a team that is not going to run nearly as well because they've got their second best weapon gone. So we'll have to keep an eye on that situation right there. Zay Jones for the Jags, he's out again. So that means that, listen, it doesn't really make a difference because they've been dealing without Zay Jones for a while now, but I do think that at this point, I think Calvin Ridley is not a bad start today, guys. He's taken on the Pittsburgh Steelers defense where they're two outside cornerbacks, Levi Wallace and Patrick Peterson. They've both given up 600-plus yards combined this season already. I don't think it's a bad matchup here for Calvin Ridley. I'm telling you guys right now, I don't think it's a bad matchup in the slightest. I'm actually looking forward to watching that. So Deshaun Watson, obviously he's out again. Deshaun Watson is not playing, so that means that it's going to be PJ Walker time yet again. So we're going to see what that brings and what that has in store. I don't think it really affects Amari Cooper that much. Amari Cooper had a good game with PJ Walker not too long ago. So I don't think if you're going to sit Amari Cooper based on the Deshaun Watson news, I wouldn't tell you guys to do that. I don't think it's really worth even thinking twice about. I would play him. If you were planning on playing him before you knew that Deshaun was out, I think you should continue to plan on playing him. So that's the situation with those. Those are kind of the big ones. Joshua Palmer this is a bummer. He's questionable tonight with a knee injury. Let's see if we can get definitive statement on Joshua Palmer, his injury update, because if he's looking good to go, I would tell a lot of people that he's going to be good to go. Apparently it's a game time decision for oh man. It's a game time decision for Joshua Palmer. I hate it. I thought Joshua Palmer was going to be a good start this week. And he may very well turn out to be, but and a lot of times, guys, when we start answering these questions, I'm going to tell a lot of my audience to not play Joshua Palmer tonight based on the fact that we don't know what his status is leaning towards. So it's a problem here. That's definitely a problem. Dave Montgomery officially ruled out on Monday night as well. So Dave Montgomery out, play Jahmyr Gibbs with full confidence this week. He's playing the Raiders, man. It's going to be a good week for Jahmyr Gibbs. So let's go ahead, start answering these questions that you guys are already filling up the chat with, guys. I'm going to go down the list one by one. So if you want to hop the line, the best way to do it is to do a super thanks donation. But either way, I appreciate y'all being here. So please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And we will be giving away one FFN hat today. We're doing only one today, and we're going to do it at 11 o'clock if you guys help me hit 50 likes on this live stream. So go down there, help me hit 50 likes, and we'll be giving away a hat at 11 a.m. Central. So, guys, let's go ahead, start diving into these questions right now. Alberto Moreno, what's going on, my man? You were first in here. DeMarcado or Pittman? We're going to go with Pittman for sure. Here's the thing about Amari DeMarcado. So, Amari DeMarcado, it not only was last week the first week where he really was, since James Conner's injury, the first week that he dealt with the majority of the workload. But this matchup against the Ravens is brutal. So if there's any ounce of him, if there's any ounce of him relinquishing touches to Keontae Ingram, for example, then it becomes just a really bad situation. Now, Pittman's got a tough matchup as well. He's obviously taking on the Saints today and Marshawn Lattimore. So I'm not saying that his matchup is any better. I'm just saying that we know that Michael Pittman will continue to get opportunities every single game. And that's just the reality of the situation. So I'll go with Pittman here because I know that Pittman's going to continue to get fed. Whereas DeMarcado, it's always up in the air what his workload is going to be. And especially against the Ravens today, I don't want any part of this matchup for him. Angel Marufo, appreciate the super chat. Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, Chris Olave, sit, start. So I'll give you them in order. So I'll give you them right down the list in order because I don't know if you need to start, if you need to start two, if you need to sit one. So here's what I'm going to do. Jordan Addison, to me, is a clear must start right now. Not only was he great last week, but he's taken on the Packers defense. And listen, like Jair Alexander has been out for a long time now. And he's questionable heading into today. I just saw that. But even if he's coming in questionable, he's probably not going to be 100%. The way Jordan Addison has been playing, he's been excellent. He's been excellent lately. Him and Kirk Cousins are really finding a groove. So Jordan Addison, you got to play him. He's number one. And then it's between Zay and Chris Olave. And I'll be honest, they were back-to-back in my rankings this week. So I like both of them. I think they're both good plays. Zay's got a matchup where he's going against Arizona. And Olave probably has a little bit more of a competitive matchup versus Indianapolis this week. So to me personally, Olave and Zay, they're both getting a good amount of target share. So we're splitting hairs here because they're so close to my rankings. They both are getting more. They're both getting targets. Olave is getting more targets. The efficiency is more on the side of Zay. The matchup is also on the side of, I would say, Olave because it's going to be more competitive. So I will go with Olave here. It's very close. So in order, I got Jordan Addison, Olave, and then Zay. Zay and Olave are very close for me. But I'll go ahead and I'll take Olave just a little slightly over Zay today. Again, Angel, appreciate your super chat. Not only does it help support me, support the channel, but it gets you to the front of the line. if you want to hop the line, get your question answered immediately, the best way to do it is to do a super thanks, a super chat donation right here. So, GK, appreciate the super chat. Chiefs defense, Falcons defense, or Texans defense. So obviously, I'm getting a lot of questions about the Falcons defense over the past several days. Now that we know that Will Levis is officially the starting quarterback, I've gotten a lot of questions. Where are the Falcons defense in your rankings this week? So the Falcons defense are not in a bad position right now. They're not in a bad position. I don't prefer them still because their defense themselves are not that great. Now, with that said, like they've got a good situation this week. They're taking on Will Levis and possibly Malik Willis. Like I read that Malik Willis is expected to share snaps with Will Levis. It's so weird. It's such a weird situation. I don't know what the Titans are doing, honestly. So it's weird. So that makes the Falcons a legit option this week. But when I look at a team like the Chiefs, who have the Chiefs have not lost to the Broncos in so long. I read this last night. It was this weird tweet. Things that were around weren't around when the last time the Broncos beat the Chiefs were. It was like TikTok was not around. Fortnite was not around. The like season 6 of Game of Thrones, like it's been so long since the Broncos have beaten the Chiefs. And the Chiefs defense is really good this year. And the Broncos offense is just, they're a nightmare. They're a total nightmare. Texans defense are good. I'm taking the Chiefs defense, though. The Chiefs defense, their matchup against the Broncos, the way the Chiefs defense has been playing, it's been all way too much for me to tell my audience that you could play a lesser defense because of a better matchup. They all have good matchups. So I'm taking the best defense out of all of them, which is the Chiefs defense. Again, GK, appreciate the super chat. Nick Jackson, I appreciate the super chat. Start 3, Olave, Addison, Nico, or London. Thanks. So, yeah, we're going to start 3. Definitely going to be Addison was going to be one of them. Nico's also going to be another. Nico Collins, you continue to play the guy. He's averaging almost 100 yards receiving per game. Nico Collins should not be on your bench, especially against the Panthers. So those are the 2 for sure. And then Olave is still in a different tier than London. And here's the reason. Olave is in a matchup where I think it's basically just as good as the Falcons. Like the Falcons are taking on a pass defense that is not very good, but also Olave is taking on a pass defense that isn't great either. And they're both probably going to be relatively competitive games, but the Saints are the over-under on the Saints and Colts game is higher than the over-under on the Colts, on the Falcons and Titans game. Because the Falcons and Titans just don't have offenses that are explosive. So Drake London, I get it. He's been on a roll lately, and he's good. Like he's a great player, and he's been doing well in fantasy. The reason I'll go Olave is because his target share is so consistently high, and he gets like the target share is one thing, but he's actually out targeting Drake London more. Chris Olave in that Week 7 Thursday night game, he had 15 targets. And that's not out of the norm for Chris Olave. Chris Olave has been a great fantasy player as far as volume goes. It just hasn't come to fruition what I thought he would be. But that said, Chris Olave still is in a different tier to me than Drake London this week. So yes, I will take Olave. Again, Nick, I appreciate the super chat. Rome 710, appreciate the super chat. Do I start the Browns defense today? You know, it really depends on what other options are out there. The Browns defense, they were, I think, my defense number 10 this week. They're obviously taking on the Browns defense. They're taking on the Seahawks. So I don't particularly love the matchup. I think the Seahawks have a very good offense. I don't love their quarterback, though. Their quarterback is not that good. Geno Smith has basically fallen back down to a middle tier quarterback this year. And that's still good for Geno compared to the rest of his career. But, the Seahawks offense has so many playmakers. And so when I look at the Browns defense and what they did last week, the majority of what the Browns defense was able to do last week from a fantasy football perspective was caused by one man, and that man is Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is on a tear this year, and he's already been a great player, of course. But what he's been able to do this year has been incredible. So I would say that we need to keep in mind that there are better matchups here than the Browns defense. Like, for example, if you've got, an opportunity to get the Texans defense and play them, I would do that personally. I like the matchup better here for the Texans defense, and the Texans defense is improving week by week by week because they've got a great head coach with D'Amico Ryans. So I like the Texans defense better than the Browns defense, for example. I would also go with a defense. I would go with the Chiefs defense, of course. I've got the Chiefs as a top defense this week. I would also go with the Jaguars defense personally. The Jaguars defense, they're playing the Steelers. And yeah, the Steelers put up points last week more than they usually do, but they're still not in a position where I would say, oh, the Steelers offense, they're coming up, man. They're on the come up with Matt Canada. I'm not telling my audience that. So it really is dependent on what options you have. I don't think the Browns are a bad play at all. That's why they were inside my top 12 defense rankings video this week. But I will say that there are better options out there that might be on your waiver wire. And if you don't have to cut anyone that you really care about, I would get one of those defenses like the Texans or the Jaguars and play them over the Browns defense this week. Again, appreciate the super chat. Anthony Parker, appreciate the super chat. Flex 1, Olave, Ayuk, or Myers? This is a great question. They're all really, really close to my rankings. They're all really bunched together, to be honest with you. Walking through it, the matchup for Ayuk today versus the Bengals, I said it earlier today to somebody in the comments section. I think this is going to be a kitchen sink type of day for the 49ers. What I mean by that is that I think they're going to throw everything at the Cincinnati Bengals. They're on a 2-game losing streak, which means that here's the reality. The 49ers have Super Bowl aspirations, and they want that number 1 seed. So if they lose again, their chances of getting that number 1 seed are very, very low. Very, very low. So they understand that. I think they're throwing the kitchen sink at the Cincinnati Bengals today. I don't know if they're going to win, but I know they're going to put up a good fight. Brandon Ayuk, to me, just because of last week, the disappointment is going to be a question mark for a lot of people. But to me, Brandon Ayuk's upside in this offense, in this type of week, I think is really, really high. The 49ers are going to throw everything they've got at the Bengals, and I think that Brandon Ayuk, with that knowledge, is going to be a good fantasy option. Now, on the other hand, Myers, obviously, has been great in fantasy football. Taking on the Raiders tomorrow night. Great matchup. So I think that Jacoby Myers is a good matchup here as well. And Olave, of course, as I've discussed, the target share is there. He's almost averaging 10 targets per game, and he's taking on the Colts defense. So I'll give it to you like this. In my rankings for wide receivers this week, it was Brandon Ayuk at 13, Jacoby Myers at 15, and Olave at 17. I will stick with my rankings here, and I will take Brandon Ayuk because of the importance in the offense right now and because I believe they are going to throw everything they've got at the Cincinnati Bengals. That's the move I will make right here. So, again, appreciate the super chat, Anthony. Brendan Frazier, appreciate the super chat. Pick 3 to start flex. ETN, Jonathan Taylor, Gibbs, and Kamara. Great question. You've obviously got tons of great options this week. So, in order, I'll go with it like this. Travis Etienne is at the top. I get it. The matchup is not great here for Travis Etienne. I like, for example, Jahmyr Gibbs' matchup way better. I like Alvin Kamara's matchup better. But Etienne's been too great. He's getting, guys, I don't know if you know this, he is getting a Christian McCaffrey level workload right now. He's not as efficient as McCaffrey's been, but he is getting that type of workload. So you can't put Travis Etienne on your bench right now. He's been great. Etienne at the top right here. So then we've got a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs, who I love the matchup this week, and Alvin Kamara, who the matchup is tough. They're really close to my rankings this week. I'm going to go with Kamara as my second option here because of the workload he's been getting. Dude's averaging 17 carries per game and 10 targets per game. It's been outrageous the volume he is seeing right now. So I will go with Kamara here as the second guy. Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, they're so close to me this particular week. I will go ahead and go with Jahmyr Gibbs and reluctantly put Jonathan Taylor on the bench just because of the look. When they're this close to my rankings, I have to split hairs here. Jahmyr Gibbs is not sharing the backfield with Craig Reynolds. That's just a fact. He's going to handle the majority, if not all of the touches out of that backfield. Craig Reynolds will get maybe 5 touches at the most, but he's more of a blocking guy than Jahmyr Gibbs is. So I'll go with Gibbs here. You've got great options here. You can't go wrong either way, but I'll go Etienne, I'll go Kamara, and I'll go Gibbs. Appreciate the super chat. We're working down in order. Rome 710, appreciate it. Flex Jacoby or Mixon? I will go ahead and flex Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers to me is in a tier above Joe Mixon. And I'll tell you that, listen, Joe Mixon has already not been very good this year. And the matchup today is not in his favor. The 49ers defense is weak right now, but it is not because of the run defense. The run defense is still stout. They're still a top 5 run defense as far as rushing yards allowed go this year. So it's not their run defense that's the problem. Their problem is their pass defense. So Joe Mixon, the matchup I don't particularly love today. Jacoby Myers will be in a situation where he's got Jimmy Garoppolo back, which is good for him. And number 2, they're going to probably get their butts handed to them. Like, they're going to get crushed tomorrow versus the Lions in Detroit. It means that he's going to have a lot of garbage time opportunities. That's what it means here. So I'll go ahead and go with Jacoby Myers. Again, I appreciate the super chat. Vino Sino, appreciate the super chat. Need a RB2 full PPR pick 1. Darrell Henderson, Roschon Johnson, or Pierre Strong. Okay, so let's go ahead and run through it because these are tough. They're very tough. I'm going to rule out Pierre Strong right here because I understand the merit here. Pierre Strong is on the Browns, if you don't know that. And Kareem Hunt is coming into the game potentially not 100%. So that means that there's an opportunity here for a guy like Pierre Strong to get some more touches than he usually would. I'm going to nix that one, though, because there's not enough history of Pierre Strong being relevant anywhere for him to get serious consideration here. And the Seahawks defense is good. So, like, when you combine matchup here with lack of opportunities that he's seen in the prior years and the prior games, I'm not going to go with Pierre Strong here. It's going to be between Henderson and Johnson because, Henderson handled the workload last week. And nothing is really going to change out of that backfield. So I'm leaning him just because of the volume security. Whereas with the Bears, Roschon Johnson coming back after missing a couple weeks. Listen, we all saw the explosion of Deonta Foreman. And that shows me that I don't think he's just going to go back on the bench. I don't think that they're going to say, Roschon, you handle the workload today, buddy. You've got it. Like, no problem at all. I don't see that. I see him splitting carries and touches with Deonta Foreman, which, by the way, I'll say this. Darrell Henderson last week versus the Steelers, he was the one who made the noise. But Royce Freeman did have 12 carries in that game. Henderson had 18, but Royce did have 12. So it's not great either way because the Cowboys are not a great defense, but I will go with Henderson because we know what to expect. We do expect that Darrell Henderson will get the majority of the work out of the backfield, whereas Roschon Johnson is in a situation where he could very well not see that many opportunities. So I will go with Darrell Henderson here. And again, I appreciate all your super chats, guys. Not only does it help support me, help support the channel, but it gets you to the front of the line. You can see how full the chat is right now. I'm trying to work my way down one by one. But if I do get a super chat, it does shoot you to the front of the line because it helps support the channel. So either way, I appreciate y'all being here. I'm trying to answer as many questions as I can. I'm going faster than I usually do because I'm trying to get through as many as I can. So please go down there, drop a like on this live stream, and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, guys, if I get to 50 likes on this live stream before 11 a.m. Central, I will go ahead and give away one FFN hat on this show live today, and I will tell you guys who the random winner is at 11 o'clock a.m. Central if you guys help me get to 50 likes. So go down there, drop that like, and let's go ahead and start answering some more questions right now. I need to take a quick drink. All right, let's get back into it. So, Car Chisel, what's going on? You're at the top here. I need a kicker. Would you drop Roshan, Judy, or Spears? I hate to be dropping any of them, but I couldn't get a trade going with anybody. So, if you need a kicker here, my question is, do you have a kicker that's on a bye week or something? Like, I'm not sure how you get into that position, but you know, my point in saying that is because I think that with this type of situation, I find it a little odd that you don't have the space to get a kicker if you don't already have one. So, yeah, I mean, if you had to drop one of them, it's tough because I really don't want to tell you to drop any of them for a kicker. But if you had to, I guess you could drop the guy I would drop would be Jerry Jeudy personally. But like I said, I don't want to drop any of them for a kicker. I think that you should be in a position where you can find another guy to drop. I'm just confused on how you don't have a kicker because there's no bye weeks this week. So, yeah, I'm a little confused, but I would drop Jerry Jeudy out of the bunch. Also, would you trust Falcons defense today playing the Titans? Backup quarterbacks. Yeah, again, I think they have a good matchup here. Like, I'm not anti-Atlanta's defense this week by any means. What I will say is that defense in this situation where I don't love their defense, the matchup being so great, I understand that, like, I really like that, but I do think that we have to take into account what are the other matchups here what are the other options here that you have available? Because a team like Houston, like their defense is still not heavily rostered right now. If they're available, I still prefer Houston's defense over Atlanta's personally. I think Houston's defense is a better defense as a whole. And I also think that the matchup is just as good. The Carolina Panthers have not won a game. Like, they haven't won a single game. The thing about the Titans is they're well coached. They've got a good coach. Mike Vrabel is a good coach. They're just not as talented this year as previous years. So, it just depends. It really does depend. So it depends on what else is out there. But that's kind of what I would say is that the Falcons defense are not a bad play, but I need to know what else is out there before I fully endorse that kind of defensive play right there. JPXXL. Wide receivers Cup, Chase, Puka Nacua, Waddle, or Myers. So I'm assuming you got to play two. So I will go with Chase for sure, and I will go with Cooper Kupp. And if you need a flex, I will go ahead and play Puka Nacua. Ham, what's going on? Flex 1. Mixon, Henderson, Rashid Shaheed, Calvin Ridley, Zach Charbonnet. Also, would you trade A-Chain away for Mark Andrews if you already have Jonathan Taylor and Travis Etienne? My current tight end is Kyle Pitts. Let's go one by one. I'll go ahead and pick a flex guy right here, and then we'll get into that potential trade. So you've got Mixon, Henderson, Rashid Shaheed, Ridley, and Charbonnet. So Henderson's not going to be the guy because this is all situations where it's like you can see that Zach Charbonnet is in a situation where he's not going to handle the majority of the workload today. I get it. Like, Zach Charbonnet with Kenneth Walker, like, it's intriguing. The prospect of playing him is intriguing, but Kenneth Walker is going to continue to handle the majority of the workload. So I would not play him. I would not play Henderson either because Henderson is taking on such a tough matchup, and I don't think he's that great of a player either. So it really comes down between Joe Mixon, Rashid Shaheed, and Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley is going to be my choice here. And the reason why is because the matchup is better for him than it is for Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is right around the same ranking as Calvin Ridley is in my overall rankings for the week. What separates the two is Joe Mixon's matchup is tough. It's a tough matchup here. So I will go ahead and go with Calvin Ridley because I know that Calvin Ridley is taking on a defense that is weak in the pass. They're a weak pass defense here. So I'll go ahead, play Calvin Ridley out of the bunch here. And guys, if you don't know, I'm working my way down from the top of this chat right here. You can see how full the chat is right now. So if you do want to hop the line and get your question answered right away, the best way to do it is to do a super thanks donation. You guys will get your question answered right away if you have that super chat right there. But either way, trying to get through as many questions as possible right now, whether they're super chat or just regular questions. I appreciate all y'all being in here. Nathan Parks, with Ford possibly playing, would you start Ramondre or Kareem Hunt? So Ford, I do not believe is playing. I think Ford has already been, he's already been ruled out. Let me make sure of this though. Jerome Ford is pushing to play. That is a very interesting development. That is something that I was quite certain that I saw that he was not going to play. So this is an interesting development here with Jerome Ford. So if Jerome Ford plays, I still do think that Kareem Hunt will handle the majority of the volume here. So that's what I will say about that situation. Ramondre Stevenson is in a situation as well where it's like the guy is playing on a bad team. It's a bad offense. And it's also a situation where it's like he shares the backfield with Zeke in a bad offense. Yeah, there's just not much upside there. In that situation, they're both similar to me. If they both share volume, I'll take Kareem Hunt because Kareem Hunt is in a situation where the primary back is probably not going to be at 100% today, which means that I have trouble seeing him handling any more than 12 carries. Kareem Hunt, I think, could see quite a bit of work today, even if Jerome Ford does play. So that's a big one right there. I would go with Kareem Hunt personally. Powerhouse, what's going on? Appreciate the super chat. Tough super flex decision. Zach Wilson, Josh Downs, Will Levis, or Jackson Smith-Njigba. That is tough right there. In fact, I'll kind of give this one context. I got another question earlier today about a super flex decision between Brock Purdy and Nico Collins. So these super flex decisions are tough, guys, because there's quarterbacks in that lower tier where it's like, do I even bother playing a guy like Zach Wilson who may get me, 5 points, whereas I could have Josh Downs give me 15 points? So when I look at this situation here with these quarterbacks, Zach Wilson has been playing better football as of late. As of late, he has been playing better football, and the matchup today is really, really good against the New York Giants. So I acknowledge that Zach Wilson does have like a little bit of upside this week. He does. But really, let's look at his best fantasy games this season. So week 2 versus Dallas, he had 11 fantasy points in that game. Week 4 versus the Chiefs, 19.2 fantasy points per game. So that's a legit fantasy game. Denver, he had 9.6 fantasy points. And then Philadelphia, he had 10.9. So even in his best games, they're still around 10 fantasy points, right? So I don't see as much upside here with Zach Wilson as I do with a guy like Jackson Smith-Njigba or Josh Downs. They're both really good options right now. And the thing about Josh Downs is that he is in an offense where he's getting more and more involved. And there's a tough matchup today versus the Saints defense. Well, I think that he could be in a good situation because Michael Pittman's probably going to be manned up with Marshawn Lattimore for the majority of that game. I think Josh Downs is going to have plenty of opportunities today. And then Jackson Smith-Njigba with the muddiness of having Tyler Lockett there and DK Metcalf there, it definitely complicates things on what I do think will happen. It's tough. And Will Levis is not in consideration for me. He's not in consideration. If we can't even count on him getting 100% of the quarterback snaps today on his own, I've got no interest. So it's tough, man. But what I will do personally is I will take the upside, and the upside simply is just not there with Zach Wilson right now. I could come out really, really wrong on this one, but I'm going to go with Josh Downs in this matchup personally because we've seen the upside with Josh Downs recently. And also, Zach Wilson just doesn't have that upside. Jack Smith-Njigba is not a bad option. Him and Josh Downs are really close right now. Josh Downs bumped up a little bit above Jackson Smith-Njigba for me personally recently because of the questions that surround the Seahawks wide receivers with all of them back in the lineup today. It looks to be that. Real quick, though, let's check on Tyler Lockett's situation right now. Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett is maybe a true game time decision right here. Let me see, though. Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett is expected to play. He is expected to play. So yeah, the muddiness with all of the matchup, with all the wide receivers being there in Seattle, it really does muddy it up a little bit. So I'll go with Josh Downs over Jackson Smith-Njigba and over Zach Wilson. Again, appreciate the super chat. That one was a thinker. I appreciate that question a lot. I'm answering week 8 fantasy football questions today, guys. I'm excited to be here with y'all. If I hit 50 likes on this live stream before 11 a.m. Central today, I am going to be giving away one FFN hat live on this live stream right now. So go down there, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel to help me get to 50 likes on this live stream, and I will be giving away a free hat at 11 a.m. Central, guys. And if you want to get your question answered immediately, you can see how full the chat is. The best way to hop the line, as I do it in order from top to bottom, is to do a super thanks donation. But again, appreciate y'all being in here. Help me give away a hat by going down there, dropping a like on the video, and subscribing to the channel to get me to 50 likes by 11 a.m. Central. All right, let's keep on moving through. In order from the top, guys, let's go ahead and see. So, Project Boy 22 Abel. With Ford possibly playing, or I'm sorry, that's not the right one. Garrett Wilson and Drake London in the flex. This is a PPR league. So, okay, this is a really close one for me. They were very, very close in my rankings this week. Now, Garrett Wilson, I really wrestled with him. If you watch my must start and sit wide receivers video that I posted on Saturday, you'll know that I was really wrestling with putting Garrett Wilson in must start territory. I love the matchup this week. And Garrett Wilson's target share is very consistently high. So I'm a big fan of playing Garrett Wilson this particular week. I'll be honest with you. I think the matchup is right there for him. It's a good matchup here. Now, with that said, Drake London also does have a good matchup as well, and his target share is also very, very consistent. So it's a tough situation here, to be honest. Guys, I just want to say this really quick. Do not spam the chat. Please do not spam the chat. Respect everybody else in the community. Everyone's trying to get their questions answered, so please do not spam the chat. I'm working my way down one by one, and if you want to hop the line, the best way to do it is through a super chat donation. Please do not spam the chat. Okay, so yeah, Garrett Wilson is a really, really good option this week because I love the matchup personally, while also saying that Drake London's matchup is great as well. He's taking on the Titans this week. I think it's a fantastic matchup. And really, he's just shown more upside than Garrett Wilson has because Garrett Wilson's – I don't like Desmond Ridder at all, but Desmond Ridder is better than Zach Wilson. And, that's with Zach Wilson playing good football lately. So I'll go ahead and I'll take Drake London over Garrett Wilson this week. It's unfortunate, but I will go ahead and do that this week. I just think that his upside is a little bit higher as they both have really good matchups. Joe Castles, appreciate the super chat. Mayer or Njoku this week? Great question. They're both very close. Michael Mayer is in a situation where he kind of, broke out a little bit a couple weeks ago, and he's starting to see, a little bit more work at the tight end position. And they're obviously in a matchup where they're going to be down big. So they're probably going to have to throw the ball quite a bit versus the Detroit Lions. The past 3 games for Michael Mayer have been 3 targets versus Green Bay, 6 targets versus New England, and 4 targets versus the Chicago Bears. So while he is getting more involved, it's still not enough involvement for me to really consider him too much. David Njoku here. I know he was questionable earlier in the week. I think he's good to go. So David Njoku last week was actually a really good play. He had 9 targets and he had 5 receptions for 54 yards. The bottom line is when he has played with PJ Walker this year, he's getting more work. So I like David Njoku personally here. Taking on the Seahawks defense, I'll take David Njoku over Michael Mayer because I know that the volume is going to be there for David Njoku right now. So again, appreciate the super chat. Not only does it help support the channel, but it also gets you to the front of the line. You can see how full the chat is right now, and I'm working my way from top to bottom. So if you want to hop the line, the best way to do it is through a super chat donation. So, all right, let's go. Let's keep moving on through. Patrick, full PBR pick 3. Puka, Olave, DK, Ridley, London, Watson. Definitely going to go with Puka here. Puka's in a good matchup versus the Cowboys where I think there's going to be a lot of coverage rolled over to Cooper Kupp, and Puka Nacua is going to continue to play well, guys. I'm a big Puka Nacua guy these days. He's really, really good at football. And then I'll also play Olave because Olave is in a different tier than the rest of those guys here. So we're going to go with those 2 for sure. And then when I'm looking at DK, Ridley, London, Watson, they're all relatively close to each other. Ridley to me is going to be the play here. Ridley is going to be the play because, like I said, I've actually gotten higher on Ridley throughout the week. Ridley has become a more intriguing option to me throughout the week because of just how bad the Steelers' corners are. Like I said, Levi Wallace, Patrick Peterson combined for the Pittsburgh Steelers, their 2 outside corners, they've given up over 600 yards this season combined. It's bad. It's a bad situation here. So I think Calvin Ridley draws a good matchup here. I actually think this could be a really good game from Calvin Ridley. And the good thing is, when I'm looking at DK Metcalf, when I'm looking at Drake London, when I'm looking at Christian Watson, they all have really low floors anyways. They could all do nothing, and they all have relatively decent chances of having boom games. So I'll go with Calvin Ridley in that situation. Also, streaming tight end. Thomas McBride, Taysom Hill, Everett, or Michael Mayer. Drop a like. Indeed, drop a like. I saw we hit 50 likes, so we will be giving away an FFN hat at the top of the next hour, guys. So I appreciate you dropping a like and supporting the channel. And make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. Appreciate you guys having the support. You guys, the channel is nothing without y'all. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Just loving interacting with the community. Thomas, McBride, Taysom, Everett, Mayer. To me, to be honest with you, this is a situation where I look at Logan Thomas, who's had very consistent volume, and he's just not really. He's not really in a situation where it's like I really think that his upside is high. Like versus the Eagles, the first time around, he actually had a decent game, but we just have to remember how Sam Howell is playing right now. It's not very good. Now, with that said, he is pretty consistently seeing a good target share, aside from a couple weeks ago where he had 1 target for like a yard or like 4 yards, a catch for 4 yards. So not very good. The upside of the offense is just not very high. When I look at a Taysom Hill to me is just such an intriguing option because Taysom Hill does everything. And they're using him a lot more than they were at the beginning of the year. They're using him a lot right now. Now, the problem with Taysom Hill is he is dealing with an injury right now. He's questionable heading into this game. Let's see if we can get an update on Taysom Hill really quick. Let me check out Taysom Hill's injury update. Taysom Hill is expected to play. That is good news here. So, Taysom Hill looking like he's going to go. If Taysom Hill goes, I'll go with Taysom Hill because of the upside that he has as a ball carrier and a pass catcher and even a thrower sometimes where we haven't seen it that much lately, but He does have that upside, so I will go ahead and I will pick Taysom Hill over Thomas, McBride, Everett, and Mayer. Um, Nathan Parks, with Ford possibly playing, would you start Ramondre Hunt? We've already got this question. Bike Walkers MTB. What's up? PPR League, T. Higgins or Josh Jacobs in my flex? Good question. So T. Higgins, I get it. It's been bad recently. And like here's the thing is like what really gets me about T. Higgins right now is that he's doing this play in a contract year. A contract year. And he's not like it doesn't look like listen, I'm not going to question the man's desire to play the game, but it's been bad this year in a contract year. So, maybe it's all a conspiracy for the Cincinnati Bengals to be able to keep him around. I don't know. I'm just joking. But, this is a situation where T. Higgins, to me, I've said this throughout the week. I think the Bengals are going to get it going this week. I think that they've already gotten it going before the bye. Like the past 2 games, they've been getting it going. They crushed the Cardinals a couple weeks ago, and then they played really well against the Seahawks. And, that's a situation where we could get on top of that. I think the Bengals are on their groove, as they do every single year. They catch fire as the year goes on, and then they stay on fire. So I lean on the side of playing T. Higgins, especially in a matchup versus the 49ers where their pass defense is not good. Josh Jacobs, the problem with him is that he's not going to be able to probably get as many touches this week because they're going to get hammered by the Lions. I think they're going to get hammered tomorrow night by the Lions. So with as bad as efficiency has been for Josh Jacobs and with the amount of volume decrease that I think is coming his way this week, I'll go ahead and I'll play Josh Jacobs. Or I'm sorry, I'll go ahead and I'll play T. Higgins in this matchup this week over Josh Jacobs right now. Okay, there was just a couple updates here that I want to read through, guys. So it's obviously 10:30, hour and a half before game time. We've got some updates. Patrick Mahomes was just added to the injury report just now with an illness by the Chiefs. No game designation status change. Yeah, he's going to play. I mean, don't worry about Patrick Mahomes. That was just a piece of news that we just saw. There's no way Patrick Mahomes is missing this game. He's going to play. So don't worry. You can play Patrick Mahomes. You can play Rashee Rice in a lot of cases. I'm curious about Rashee Rice this week. This is a good question right here. I want you guys to answer this in the chat. Do you prefer Rashee Rice or Jackson Smith-Njigba this week? In the comments, put it down. I'm very curious what y'all think. While I wait on some answers here, let's answer another question. Higgins or Tank Dell? I will go with T. Higgins here. T. Higgins, like I said, I think that he's in a situation where T. Higgins is going to be against a really good matchup, and I do think that he's going to get it going. All right, let's see what we've got here. We've gotten Rice, JSN, Rice, JSN. It's 2 for 2. Each side has 2. Let me know what you guys think. Keep letting me know. Do you prefer Rashee Rice this week or Jackson Smith-Njigba? We've got another JSN. So 3 JSNs and 2 Rashee Rices here. They're really close in my rankings, to be honest. Weather for Rice not favorable. That is correct. It is looking like it's going to be the first snow game of the year this year in the Broncos versus Chiefs game. Rice only because he has a Hall of Famer quarterback. Rice going to be playing in a blizzard. Yeah, it's an interesting question here, and that's why I asked you guys, because Rashee Rice he's starting to separate himself as that number 1 wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 2 pass catcher, number 1 wide receiver. And I also think that Jackson Smith-Njigba is here to stay. I think he continues to do very, very well. So it's an interesting question. I'm very curious what y'all think. Ghost Issa, appreciate the super chat. Yo, just joining the live. You like Howell or Dak more this week? Great question. Sam Howell, to me, the way he's been playing, I can't tell my audience to play Sam Howell. He's been horrific this week. And listen, I can look back to the first game versus the Philadelphia Eagles, and I say Sam Howell actually did really well against the Philadelphia Eagles. That's all true. I'm not denying that. But the way he's been playing recently, and with the way the Eagles defense really clamped down on the Miami Dolphins of all teams, I can't confidently tell my audience to play them. The Rams defense is one to take advantage of. We just saw Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers Mickey Mouse offense take advantage of the Rams. And I'm a Steelers fan, guys, so don't worry. I'm a very critical Steelers fan. They're not a good offense. So if they can do that to the Rams defense, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys can do it as well. Do not worry. I'll play Dak this week because I know the upside is higher with Dak. The matchup is better, and I can't tell my audience to roll out Sam Howell as bad as he's looked. Again, appreciate the super chat, Ghostissa. You can see how full the chat is right now. I'm going down the list in order, full chat. So if you want to get your question answered immediately, the best way to hop the line is through a super chat donation. All right, let's keep on moving through, guys. Just love being here with you. Just love being here with you guys on Sunday morning. It's the best time of the week, man. It is the best time of the week. Okay. Rolando RG, what's going on? Start sit, Christian Watson, Josh Palmer, then Michael Pittman, Curtis Samuel. Let's answer the first one. I will go with Christian Watson, unfortunately, because as I said earlier, Josh Palmer's questionable, and he's in the Sunday night game, and we don't have any confirmation whether he's leaning towards playing or not playing. There's no lean one way or the other. So I can't tell my audience to play Joshua Palmer. And I don't want to tell you guys to play Christian Watson either, but I have to. I have to because Josh Palmer, it's irresponsible because Josh Palmer is not in. If we don't know one way or the other, I don't want to get my audience 0 points as a result. I'll go with Christian Watson, but if we knew more, if we knew he was expected to play, I would go with Josh Palmer. So maybe there's a status update before noon today because I think that the Vikings and Packers are playing at noon. Indeed, they are. So we're going to have to – the only way this changes is if we get an update before the noon games on whether Josh Palmer is playing or not. So keep an eye on that situation here, and I will as well. Trev Gasworth, Tua or Stroud? I'll definitely go with Tua this week because he has the higher upside. Now, CJ Stroud's been good. I acknowledge that. And they may very well finish similarly because the thing about the Dolphins game this week is it is a division game. So we do need to keep that in mind because anything can happen in division games. So I get it. It's a division game, but the upside with his weapons is just higher than it is for CJ Stroud. I'll go ahead and play Tua Tagovailoa over CJ Stroud this week. Daniel Orton, you were first up here. Appreciate the super chat. Madison or Darrell Henderson flex spot? I will go with Madison here because of the matchup. Madison's matchup is better, and also he does see reception work. So it's good in a PPR format specifically for Alexander Madison because he actually does see, I think, close to 5 targets per game. So the upside is there as a receiver in a PPR format for Alexander Madison, and the matchup is way better versus the Packers. So I will go ahead and go with Alexander Madison. Again, appreciate the super chat. And Dizzy B, my man, appreciate you joining, and I appreciate the super chat. With Johnson back with the Saints, can I throw Taysom Hill in or pick up McBride, Thomas, or Everett? So great question here. This is a situation where I look at Taysom Hill, and I actually kind of answered this. Answered this question where it's like, at Rolando RG, I do see that, and I will get back to your question here in a minute. But Dizzy B, I see Taysom Hill in a situation where it's like the guy just sees so many opportunities in so many different ways. He's a jack of all trades, right? So it's like I look at him, and I don't look at those other guys with as equal amount of upside. Logan Thomas, like I said, the upside week to week is not that great. He's a relatively consistent target for the Commanders, but the upside week to week is not that high. Where I look at Everett, and Everett, he relinquishes targets to Donald Parham a lot of times. So, I'll go ahead and I'll still play Taysom Hill, even with Juwan Johnson back in there. Juwan Johnson hasn't done much of anything, even when he's been active this year. So I'll go with Taysom Hill. And again, DZB, I appreciate the super chat. So the other part of Rolando RG's question that I missed, and I'm going to answer, is Michael Pittman or Curtis Samuel. I will go with Michael Pittman for sure. I get it. The matchup is not great against the Saints here. He's going to have a tough time probably. I'll still take the upside because the upside is certainly better with Michael Pittman than it is for Curtis Samuel. There is no question about that. There's no question about that. So I'll go with Michael Pittman here over Curtis Samuel. I'm answering week 8 fantasy football questions, guys. For those of you who are just joining, put your question in the live stream. You can see how full the chat is right now. And I'm starting from the top, going down to the bottom, guys. So if you want to get your question answered immediately, the best way to do it is to do a super chat donation. Regardless of if you could donate or not, I'm here to answer as many questions as possible. So please go down there, drop a like on the video, and subscribe to the channel to show your support, guys. It is greatly appreciated every single day. Let's go ahead and keep on moving through. Okay, Dizzy B just so happened to have come across another question you asked. So now that I have my running back situation fixed, I want to find a tight end one that's going to score. I have Komet. Wide receivers are Hill, Collins, Cooper, Samuel, Palmer, and Jigba Bourne. Who should I trade away? So if you're looking to get an upgrade, I'm assuming that you're probably trying to go for someone like a Mark Andrews or a Sam Laporta or even a Travis Kelce. So if you're trying to play ball at tight end, you're going to have to give up some capital. So when I look at your wide receivers here, you've got a guy like Tyreek Hill, who obviously you're not trading away Tyreek Hill for a tight end. You're just not doing it. Not even Travis Kelce is as good of an option as Tyreek Hill is. You know, when I look at Nico Collins, he's a guy I really like. And I don't think the fantasy community as a whole values as much as I do personally. And I tell you guys that every day I put out a video. Nico Collins is a great fantasy piece. So he's not a guy I'm going to trade away because I don't think anybody else sees the real value on him. When I look at your situation, you've got a guy who's Amari Cooper, who's everybody knows what he is. He's a boomer bust guy. Week to week, you don't know what to expect, but when he does do well, you want him on your roster. And then I look at another guy like Joshua Palmer, who's been really involved this year, and he's going to continue. Upside is certainly there with that offense, and it's going to continue to be there because Mike Williams is done, and Quinn Johnston's not ready yet. So I would look at a guy like Amari Cooper and Joshua Palmer, and I would probably package those guys together, and try to trade them for a. You're not going to get Travis Kelce out of that probably. You'll probably have to get someone like a Mark Andrews or Sam Laporta. And if you go for one of those guys, I would ask for a lower tier wide receiver 2 or upper tier wide receiver 3 in addition. Someone like maybe Rashee Rice. Someone like maybe a Garrett Wilson. That's the move I would try to make in that situation here. All right. Frank Dox. Higgins or Dell. Yep, we got that one. It's T. Higgins right here for sure. ASAP Abe, what's going on? Ridley bounce back game for sure. Live creation, what's going on, my man? Good to see you here. Stroud or Burrow? You know, it's so interesting because I've gotten Burrow questions all week, and honestly, I think Joe Burrow is going to have a good day in fantasy today. I really do. And I don't think that Stroud's a bad option. I really think that Stroud's a good option this week. I'm taking Burrow, though. I'm taking Burrow because there's so much urgency on the line here for the Bengals because they started again as they always do, which is really, really slow. They started super, super slow, and we're in a situation where it's like Joe Burrow, they start slow every year, and also the matchup is so much better than people think. The 49ers defense is strong against the run. But as a lot of people saw on a primetime game versus the Vikings defense, the Vikings offense absolutely mauled the 49ers pass defense. They were all over it. So I'm definitely going with Joe Burrow today. I think the matchup is a lot better than people think. And even though Stroud has a good matchup as well, I'm taking the upside play with Joe Burrow because do not forget, we know Joe Burrow can go off for 30, 40-point games. I think it could happen. I think it could definitely happen this week. So Higgins or Downs in the flex. I will go with T. Higgins as well. Josh Downs is interesting. Of course, he's getting to be very interesting on my rankings, but I'll still go with T. Higgins because, as I said, I do believe that T. Higgins is in an offense that is getting better by the week and is in a matchup that is actually better than Josh Downs as well. So I'll go ahead and I'll play T. Higgins. Lex playing some trees. What's going on? How Russ or Love this week? Tough break. Definitely a really tough break. When I look at Russell Wilson, Russell Wilson's taking on a Chiefs defense that is already really good. The game's going to be snowing too. I don't love that at all. So I'm probably not going to go Russ because of weather and because of matchup deficiency. Sam Howell did do well against the Eagles the first time around. And Jordan Love playing the Vikings defense, and their weakness is also in their pass defense. So, it's tough. They've both been playing so bad lately. I think that Love's weapons are better, and I think they both have, the Sam Howell's matchup is tougher. The weapons are on the side of Jordan Love. I'll go with Jordan Love out of all three of those guys this week. Accidental genius. Start Edwards, Tajay, or Foreman. Dealing with A-Chain on IR and have Brees also starting. Or I could pick up another running back. Okay. So yeah, I don't know what other running backs you've got on there. Brees is obviously a really good starter. I'm glad you have Brees because I don't love any of the other ones. When I look at Tajay, it's a guy that I really, really like. But it's also, the Tajay Spears is not in the same tier as a guy like Deonta Foreman to me because Deonta Foreman, what he did last week is good, and he's got uncertain volume as well. So they're all really, really close. They're all really, really close to me. I take that back. They're actually in very similar tiers. I'll go with Gus Edwards, to be honest with you. The reason I'll go with Gus Edwards is because when I look at Gus Edwards' matchup versus the Arizona Cardinals, and I look at his consistent workload, we can always count on him getting at least 12 carries, and he gets in the end zone a lot. This is probably a matchup where I could see Gus Edwards finding the end zone. So I will go with Gus Edwards in this matchup right here. Travis, pick 2. Mostert, Kirk, or Devonta Smith. I will go ahead and go with Mostert for sure, and I will go with Christian Kirk because Christian Kirk, I've got him a couple spots above Devonta Smith because I can't keep doing this to my audience. I can't keep doing it to you guys. His reality is he's been so bad in fantasy football ever since week 2. That's the problem. He had 2 crush killer games to start the year, and it's been the AJ Brown show ever since. So I just can't. He's not a bad play week to week because of the offense he's in, and he still sees volume. But Christian Kirk, to me, in this matchup versus the Steelers defense, which they're a great pass rush, they're a great run stopping defense for the most part. They're better than they are. Let me take that back. They're better than they are stopping the pass for sure on the run. So their pass defense is weak, and Christian Kirk has great chemistry with Trevor Lawrence, and hey, I'll take Christian Kirk over Devonta Smith. So I'll go Mostert and I'll go Christian Kirk here. All right. Brando 23. What's going on? 12-man PPR need 2 flexes. Mixon, Higgins, Stevenson, Pierce, or Palmer. Have Herbert, Diggs, AJ Brown, Pollard, Pacheco, and Kittle starting. Yeah, so you've got some high upside. And that's what we do. We shoot for upside in fantasy football because we're trying to win the game. We're trying to win, guys. So when I look at these options right here, I'll go Higgins over Mixon because the matchup is better for Higgins as opposed to Mixon because, again, Mixon's taking on a defense that is good against the run, but not good against the pass. So that's their weakness right there. I'll start both of them over Stevenson because the upside is just not there week to week with Stevenson because he shares the backfield and the team sucks. So I look at Pierce, and actually, I sort of low key really like Pierce, but I can't tell my audience that he's a better option than T. Higgins without the upside. Um, and then Palmer, I'll tell you what, Palmer would be the guy that I inevitably chose if we knew more about his injury. If we knew that he was going to play tonight, I would pick Palmer, but we don't know that, so I can't tell my audience to play him. So I will go ahead and I will take T. Higgins, and that's what I will do. Yep, I'll take T. Higgins. Accidental Genius, start two, Puka, Weil, Watson, Dell, Collins. We'll go ahead and play Puka Nacua for sure, and then we will also play Nico Collins. Puka Nacua, let's face it, guys, Puka Nacua is a very good fantasy option. He just is. He's just a really good fantasy option. Nico Collins is as well. Nico Collins is the top guy. So I'll go, Nico Collins for sure, and then also go with Puka Nacua. Those are my two guys right now. Poe, DJ Moore, or Adam Thielen, full PPR. I'll go with Thielen here because I know that the volume is going to be consistent, and I know his upside is consistent because of the quarterback. There's no quarterback change. There's really no outcome change either because here's what happens is Adam Thielen goes in and he plays for the Carolina Panthers, and they either get blown out right away and they're playing catch up the entire way, or a game like Miami where it's like they actually jump out to an early lead and Adam Thielen's still involved. So either way the game script goes, Adam Thielen has been great for them. DJ Moore is week to week a boomer bust guy. Tyson Bagent, the ceiling is not there with him. He still sees the volume because he's clearly their best wide receiver, but I'll tell you what, man, the upside week to week varies with a guy like Tyson Bagent here. So I'll go ahead and I'll play Adam Thielen. Steven Drakes, appreciate the super chat. Do we prefer Downs or Deontay Johnson? Half PPR. I'm assuming that's what you meant. It's probably not 5 PPR. Yeah, this is a great question because they're very, very similar, and they've got relatively similar matchups. When I look at the Colts, they're playing the Saints. The main problem is going to be for Pittman because they're going to man up Marshawn Lattimore on Michael Pittman. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities, I think, for Josh Downs to get open underneath. And, I mean, he might hit on another big play again. So I really like Josh Downs this week. Deontay Johnson, of course, is going to see the target share. Well, do not forget this. Deontay Johnson has not seen the end zone on an NFL field since 2021. That's not a lie. That's the truth. He has not seen the end zone for the Pittsburgh Steelers since 2021. Seems like he's a little allergic to getting in the end zone these days. So, honestly, from the upside perspective, they're both taking on pretty tough matchups here. I will go with Josh Downs over Deontay Johnson because Josh Downs, the good thing about him is I think that a lot of the defense is going to be circled around Michael Pittman, and Josh Downs is going to get underneath quite a bit. That's what I think. I'll go with Josh Downs over Deontay Johnson this week. Again, appreciate the super chat. Bo, appreciate the super chat. Need to. Deonta Foreman, Ramondre Stevenson, and DJ Moore have PPR. So, yeah, in this situation, we're going to go with DJ Moore because his upside is higher than it is with Ramondre Stevenson or Deonta Foreman. Definitely going to go with DJ Moore here. When I look at these two guys, I got to go with Stevenson because the matchup is actually tougher for Deonta Foreman. Deonta Foreman, I get it. Like, we just saw him have a hat trick game last week, so it's hard to tell you guys, put Deonta Foreman on your bench. With the return of Roschon Johnson, I don't know what this volume is going to look like. I would assume that Deonta Foreman still gets at least 12 to 15 opportunities. Their pass defense, the Chargers' pass defense is actually worse off than their run defense. So I will go ahead and stick with Ramondre Stevenson over Deonta Foreman. They're very close, but I'll I'll go ahead and tell you guys to play Ramondre. You can hear the depression in my voice because I wanted to go with Deonta Foreman, but I just can't. I can't trust the Chicago Bears offense week to week. It's really not a Foreman issue. It's actually just a offense issue for the Chicago Bears. That's the main problem. It's not Deonta Foreman. It's not that he can't play. Dude can play. It's the offense and the way the team is run. I don't trust them to give him the volume again this week. So that's what I'll do. Again, Bo, Stephen Drakes, appreciate the super chats here this week. Random name. What's going on? Good morning. Full PPR. Pick 3. CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin. I'm probably overthinking CeeDee Lamb. I think a lot of people are right now. I'll be honest with you. I think there's a lot of people overthinking CeeDee Lamb because of how it started. And I understand that. Like I can understand people overthinking this one with CeeDee Lamb because the upside hasn't been there. It's similar to Jalen Waddle. It really is similar. But you can't forget, CeeDee Lamb is clearly the wide receiver 1 in Dallas. He started to get it going before the bye, had his first 100-yard game in that game against the Chargers. Well, the good news is they're coming off the bye, and they're also taking on another bad passing defense. The Rams defense is going to be taken advantage of today. So yeah, CeeDee Lamb is going to be one of them for sure. When I look at your other options, Nico Collins is definitely going to be in there because Nico Collins is a great option this week. And then my last guy will be Christian Kirk slightly over DJ Moore. Christian Kirk, like I said, the volume is going to be there. We know the volume is going to be there with DJ Moore as well, but the upside, I think, with Christian Kirk is higher than it is with Tyson Bagent and DJ Moore because Trevor Lawrence is going to be playing a defense where I think he's going to slice and dice the secondary today. I do personally. And that's going to be as a large result of Christian Kirk having a pretty good game today. So guys, we're 3 minutes away from giving away an FFN hat right now live, guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and scroll with my eyes closed and pick out the winner of the hat today, guys. So if you don't get the hat, don't worry. I'll be giving out more hats more frequently once I hit 7,500 subscribers. So please help me get there by dropping a like on this video and subscribing to the channel to show your support. It is greatly appreciated, you guys. And Bo, appreciate the super chat. Carr, Olave, or Trevor Lawrence, Ridley, and Brian Robinson or Roschon Johnson. Yeah, so if you're going for the stack here, the matchup for Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley, it's like that's the thing. Is like I would play Trevor Lawrence over Derek Carr, but I would also play Olave over Ridley. So it's hard to kind of endorse a stack in this situation because I don't think Derek Carr is a very good fantasy quarterback. And I also think that Olave is a much better option this week than Calvin Ridley. With that said, I'll go with the guy that I think has a better chance of having an upside game. And I think that Ridley has a better chance of having an upside game than Derek Carr. So I'll go with the Trevor Lawrence Ridley stack personally. Brian Robinson or Roschon Johnson. I'll go with Brian Robinson here because I know that he's going to handle the majority. I do know that. It's tough. It's tough though. Like Brian Robinson this week is not good. He was way down my rankings this week. I don't see a ton of upside here with Brian Robinson. I'll be honest with you guys. It's Brian Robinson is exactly who I thought he was. And I should not have changed my stance on him because I was right on him before the start of the season. So Brian Robinson, I will take him over Roschon Johnson, though. Again, appreciate the super chat right now. All right, guys, it is time. It is time to give away an FFN hat right here, live on this chat right now, guys. So let's go ahead and pick this winner right now. I'm going to go ahead and scroll through with my eyes closed, and wherever I land on when I open my eyes is going to be the winner of the hat. All right, so let's go ahead and do it. All right, opening my eyes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Brando 23X is the winner of the FFN hat right now, guys. Congratulations, Brando 23X. I appreciate you guys being in here. We're not done yet. We're not done. I'm staying on here basically up until kickoff right now. So, guys, Brando won the hat today. So, Brando, what you need to do is go to my kickers video this week, comment down below that you were the winner of the hat, and I will go and you go ahead, you send me an email, and I will go ahead and send your free hat to you. So, appreciate it. And, guys, don't worry if you did not win the hat. There's going to be plenty more opportunities to win hats, guys. I'm giving them away quite often these days. But I am going to stop. I am going to halt giving as many away until I get to 7,500 subscribers. So please help me get to 7,500 subscribers by dropping a like on the video and subscribing to the channel to show your support, guys. I appreciate you guys every single day. You guys are the best. And honestly, just love that I'm building a community with you guys here, because the reality is, guys, I just love being in here talking fantasy football with y'all. I'm always the guy at family gatherings that's like talking so much fantasy football and football. Everyone's like, dude, do you know anything else to talk about? And I'm like, maybe not. Like, so I love talking with you guys always. I appreciate you guys being in here and being so loyal. Thank you all so much. So we're continuing to answer questions, guys. Nothing has changed. So let's go ahead and get back into the questions right now, guys. So, okay, let's keep on moving through. RM, appreciate the super chat. Darrell Henderson, Damian Pierce, Curtis Samuel, or Jackson Smith-Njigba in the flex. You know I'm always tempted to go with Jackson Smith-Njigba. You know that's true. When I look at the other guys right here, Darrell Henderson is a no-go. No doubt about that. He is a absolute no-go for me, because here's the thing. Darrell Henderson, when I look at him, the matchup against the Dallas Cowboys is bad. So I think that he's going to just struggle mightily this week. And then when I also look at Damian Pierce, I really like the matchup. And honestly, guys, I'm relatively in on Damian Pierce this week. Like, Damian Pierce, I'm so against like every other fantasy YouTuber calling it the Devin Singletary breakout. And like, maybe I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'll talk about it tomorrow night on my live stream. But I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way at all. Because, dude, just a couple weeks ago, Devin Singletary got 0 touches. 0. Just 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, I don't see this like, it's the takeover time. Like, Damian Pierce has never been irrelevant in this offense. Damian Pierce is going to continue to be relevant, and the matchup is really good against the Panthers today. Curtis Samuel's a no, because the matchup is bad, and also the upside of the offense is not there. It's between Jackson Smith-Njigba and Damian Pierce. Man, I got to be honest here. Like, it's so tough. I'm going to go with my gut. They're so close in the rankings together. I got to go with Jackson Smith-Njigba. I got to go with my gut. My gut is telling me Jackson Smith-Njigba all day long. Again, RM, I appreciate the super chat, guys. You can see how full the chat is. I'm trying to get through everything, as many as I can. I won't get through everything, but I'm trying to get through as many as I possibly can over the next 45 minutes, guys. So if you want to make sure your question does get answered, the best way to hop the line is to do a super chat donation. I don't care if you donate or not. I'm just saying that is the best way to hop the line. I'm trying to answer as many questions regardless, guys. So just understand, you can see how full the chat is. I'm going from top to bottom here, so I may not get to your question. So if you want to make sure you do get it answered, the best way to do it is through super thanks donation. Okay, so let's continue to move on through. Where did I leave off right here? Okay. Karen Thur. I think I said that right. I think I said it right. Who should I start in the RB2 and flex spot? Gus Edwards, Jerome Ford, if healthy, Roshan Johnson, Christian Watson, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Metcalf, or Tank Dell. Keep up the good work. Love the content. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you being here today, and I appreciate the support. RB2 in flex spot. So I'm looking at Gus Edwards and I'm like, yeah, the matchup's great this week. The upside is always going to be the same. Upside is just never that great. And then I look at Jerome Ford and I see Jerome Ford. If he plays, he's not going to get the workload that he usually does. And he's not going to be 100%. So I don't love that. You got to pick a running back here. If Jerome Ford does play, I'll play him. But if he doesn't play, I'll play Gus Edwards. And then I'm looking at, the wide receivers you have are interesting because Christian Watson, the matchup is there, but the offense, like Jordan Love sucks. So I don't like it at all. Tell my audience to play him again after the debacle last week. Jackson Smith-Njigba, I would play over Christian Watson. And honestly, guys, I may sound like a moron, and I may have to call myself wrong on this tomorrow in my live stream of what I got right and what I got wrong. But I'm playing Jackson Smith-Njigba over DK Metcalf. I'm doing it. I think that the team is frustrated with DK. I'm seeing this a lot. I'm reading this a lot lately, is that they're frustrated with DK Metcalf this week. So I'm going with Jackson Smith-Njigba. I think he's here to stay, and I think he's playing well enough for them to see what's going on, and they're going to keep playing him. Bo, appreciate the super chat. Need two. PPR, GP, as in George Pickens, Jordan Addison, Flowers, and Garrett Wilson. So you've got some good options on the table here. You've got a lot of good options right here. So really what it comes down to is that I think that when I see a guy like George Pickens, the upside is so high week to week that it's hard to keep telling you guys to bench him. The problem with him is that his upside is great. The floor is really, really low. The floor for Pickens is like 4 points. That's the problem. Jordan Addison is not in that situation right now. He's super important, and the matchup is great against the Packers defense that is beaten down and not good right now. I got to go with Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison's number one. And then I look at Zay Flowers and George Pickens. They're closer to me than Garrett Wilson. I'll go with Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers, consistent workload. Upside is definitely there, and the matchup is definitely there. So George Pickens is close behind Zay Flowers to me, but I will go with Zay Flowers here because I know that the upside is there as far as the target share. George Pickens sometimes gets like 5 targets in a game. And 5 targets in a game is sometimes not enough for George Pickens because the offense sucks. So I will go with Zay Flowers and I'll go with Jordan Addison. Again, appreciate the super chat right now. So trying to get through as many questions as possible, guys. Trying to work my way from top to bottom right here. So, all right. Angel Marufo, Zay Flowers or Chris Olave? I will go with Chris Olave very slightly. As I said earlier, they're back-to-back in my rankings right now. The reason I choose Olave over Zay Flowers is because Olave's target share is greater. Like the target share, no, it's not greater, but the target amount is greater. He gets more targets consistently than Zay Flowers does. And the matchup, I think, is going to be more competitive, which I think will mean more opportunities for Chris Olave than it will be for Zay Flowers. So I will go with Olave ever so slightly in this matchup here. Cam Ferg. Man. I was just about to flood that water down my throat. Just want to make sure I didn't mess up any microphones or anything like that. Okay, Cam Ferg, Zay Flowers, Chris Olave, Jacoby Myers. Who are you starting? I will play Chris Olave still. I will play Chris Olave. I think Olave to me is just like I said, when I look at Olave and when I look at all those guys, I see that Olave gets the most amount of targets. And I think that he still is. When you see 15 targets in a game, it's rare that you're not having a 100-yard at least game. I have concerns with Olave, but they're no greater than when I stack up his concerns with other guys like on the list right here. If you're not seeing the same target amount as Chris Olave every week, I got to go with the guy who's getting a ton of targets. So I will go with Chris Olave here over all those guys. Okay. Moving down the list as fast as possible, guys. Q Hacker, what's going on? My lineup: Jared Goff, Gus Edwards, Ramondre, Jacoby Myers, Deontay Johnson, Cole Kmet, Tank Dell, Steelers defense, Fairbairn. Thoughts? I think it looks good. I mean, you've got your quarterback here is in a situation where I think that the quarterback is in a good matchup here. The Raiders are going to get the Lions are going to crush the Raiders this weekend, guys. It's going to happen in Detroit off a bad loss. Back in their own dome, like it's going to go well for the Detroit Lions this week. I got Detroit pinned as a great team. Jared Goff, I think, has a great fantasy performance in that game. When I look at your bench here and you've got the running back issues, like you're doing the best you can. That's the best lineup I would be able to put together. So I get that situation right there. Your wide receivers, your wide receivers are, again, best you could do here as well. So yeah, you're in a situation where you've done the best you can in this situation here. All right, keeping on moving down the list as fast as possible, guys. Jiri Momamdo. Start 2, Nico Collins, Chris Olave, Joe Mixon. Nico for sure, and then I will go with Olave here because of the target share, and I think he's got a better matchup than Joe Mixon does. Michael Simmons, chat, I need help. Bench 1, full PPR. Waddle, Devonta Smith, Ridley, Rice, JSN, Spears. Thanks for the insight. Bench 1. Okay, so we got to bench one of these guys. I will definitely go ahead and bench Tyjae Spears because Tyjae Spears, the upside is just simply not. It's simply capped because of the volume that he sees week to week. So I'll go ahead and I'll bench Tyjae Spears out of the bunch right here. B. Van, I'm looking to offer Ridley, Mostert, Jerome Ford for Pittman, ETN, Justice Hill. What do you think of this trade? I have Hollywood, Zay, Christian McCaffrey, Christian Watson, DK, Kyron, Amari, Samuels, Reynolds, full PPR. So you're offering Ridley, Mostert, and Ford for Pittman, ETN, and Justice Hill. ETN, obviously, I'm a big ETN guy. Like, getting ETN in a trade is like money to me. That's music to my ears. So I think it's great to get him. And I think that really Pittman over Ridley is the way I see it as well. So, yes, I would make that kind of offer right now because you can get ETN and you can get Pittman over Ridley, which I think they could be about the same at the end of the day, but I do prefer Michael Pittman personally. Bo, what's going on? Appreciate the super chat. Dallas, Miami, or New Orleans defense? Yes, great question. I will definitely be going with Dallas's defense. Dallas's defense is the best of the bunch, obviously. New Orleans defense is great, but from a fantasy perspective, not as good as Dallas's defense because Dallas's defense causes turnovers. They get sacks. They do all that stuff. That New Orleans is more of the type of defense that would be better at reducing the team's yardage total, which is good. Like, they're still a good fantasy defense, but the matchup here against the Rams offense, I think they're going to take it to them because they match up well. Not that the Rams offense is not good, but they match up well with the Rams offense. The Rams offense has a horrendous offensive line. Michael Parsons is going to get after Matt Stafford today. Their front seven is going to bully that Rams offensive line. That's why I love the matchup here, because when you look at it position by position group, the Dallas Cowboys have an advantage over the Rams offense every day. So I will go with Dallas' defense because the matchup here, when you're looking at a position group, the best defense on the list here, I'll go with Dallas' defense. Again, appreciate the super chat. Andrew Bundy, good to see you here, man. Appreciate the super chat. Made a trade. Kamara, Smitty for Mixon, Diggs. Thoughts? So you gave up Kamara and Devonta Smith for Mixon and Diggs. So getting Diggs is massive either way you look at it. Getting Diggs is huge. So I love getting Stephon Diggs. Personally, I think that Stephon Diggs is just a fantastic addition. He's one of the best receivers in fantasy football. So anytime I could get an immediate tier upgrade and get a game changer, I'm doing it most of the time. and you only had to give up Kamara, who's been great, but he's not going to be a game changer for as long as Stephon Diggs will. So, yeah, I love it personally. If you were the one who got Diggs, I love that trade personally. Again, appreciate the super chat. Rella Hession Total. Appreciate the super chat right now. Start Ridley, Dell, or Rice. DK or Rice. So, okay. So, if I need to pick from DK or Rice and then Ridley, Dell, or Rice, let's do this. So, I will go with Calvin Ridley because of the matchup. I love the matchup here for Calvin Ridley. As I've said, Calvin Ridley has really risen up my rankings this week because of the matchup he's getting. Calvin Ridley is in a situation where he is getting a matchup where he's taking on two corners for the Pittsburgh Steelers who have been awful. Patrick Peterson, yes, great player of my generation, but he's not good anymore. And Levi Wallace, they've both given up a combined over 600 yards passing this season. It's awful. So Calvin Ridley's in a good situation here. I'll go with Calvin Ridley for sure. And then in order here, I'll go with Rashee Rice under Calvin Ridley. Then I will go with Tank Dell. And then I'll go with DK Metcalf. I'm not joking, guys. I am not big on DK Metcalf. I don't think it's a good matchup at all. I think it's a terrible matchup here for DK Metcalf. And honestly, guys, like I said, I think DK Metcalf is in a really bad situation right now. I think the Seahawks, call it what you want, I think the Seahawks may have benched him last week. The injury, not the injuries, the penalties that he's been getting in the comments after the game, and Pete Carroll was clearly against those comments. I think they were punishing him last week. I really do. And I don't think that he showed remorse for it. I've got my guard up, and I'm locked into that situation because I think that DK Metcalf is just simply in a situation where I think that it could be bad. So in order for you, I'll go Ridley, I'll go Rashee Rice, I'll go Tank Dell, and I'll go DK Metcalf. Again, appreciate your super chat. Not only does it help support the channel, help support me, but it gets you to the front of the line. You can see how full these questions are. And guys, I've got about 30 minutes left on this live stream. So I'm trying to get through as many as possible, but just know I won't be able to get to every single question. You can see how full the chat is. So if you want to jump the line, if you can, the best way to do it is a super chat donation. But I'm trying to get to you regardless of if you donate or not. Okay. So Ramondre or Ridley, Amsterdam Sriracha asks, got to start one. We'll go with Ridley here for sure. The matchup and the upside, I think, is just way, way higher. So Jorge Nunez, Gus Edwards, Sanders, Henderson, pick one. I will go with Gus Edwards here because I know that the offensive upside is higher on his team. The matchup upside is better. I'll go with Gus Edwards here. Huge Blue Orca. I love that name. Hi, I have JT, ETN, Bijan Robinson, and Gibbs. Who do I start? If you need to start two, I'll definitely go with ETN, and I will go with Bijan Robinson here. So if you need to start three, I would go in order. I'll give you the order. ETN, Bijan, Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor. All great options, though. No doubt about it. Nathan Parks, with Ford possibly playing, would you start Ramondre or Hunt? Yes, I would play Kareem Hunt still. I don't care either way because I think that Kareem Hunt's upside is higher. Aaron B, PPR, Madison, or Amari. I will go with Amari Cooper because of the upside. I think it's higher with Amari Cooper than it is with Alexander Madison. You could end up with bad games from either of those guys. So I'll take the most amount of upside possible, and that's with Amari Cooper. Gary Yeo, what's going on, my man? Should I trade away Walker, Charbonnet, and Palmer for Gibbs and Downs? Current running backs are Henry, Spears, and Brian Robinson, Chase, and Ayuk, full PPR, 14-man league. So you're willing to trade away Walker, Charbonnet, or Palmer for Gibbs and Downs. Man, that's too much. That's way too much, man. You can't give up Kenneth Walker for Jahmyr Gibbs. You can't do it. It's already a downgrade. Yeah, you can't make that trade, Gary. I can't tell. I cannot endorse that kind of trade. giving up Kenneth Walker and only getting a Jahmyr Gibbs in return. Kenneth Walker's he's an elite tier for fantasy football for the rest of the season. Got to be honest with you right here. Guys, I got 30 minutes left on this live stream. What we'll do here, I gave away a hat already. I will give away one more hat at the end of the live stream. If you go down there and you get me to 80 likes on this live stream, if I get to 80 likes on this live stream, I will give away one more hat at the end of the video. So go down there, drop a like on the video, and subscribe to the channel to have a chance to win this hat. The only way you have a chance to win is if you are subscribed to the channel, guys. So go down there, drop that like, and subscribe to the channel to have a chance to win the hat. If I get to 80 likes, I'm giving away one more hat at the end of the video here. I appreciate y'all being in here, guys. I love being in here with y'all. So let's go ahead, keep answering as many questions as possible right now. Okay, so Poppy Kim, what's going on? Do you think trading Swift for Jacobs is a good trade? No, I would hold on to Swift. I would hold on to Swift for sure. Swift to me is just he's in a different tier than Jacobs is right now. Better team, more efficient guy. I'll take DeAndre Swift, no doubt about it. All right. Trevor Augustus, appreciate the super chat. Would you drop Tyjae Spears for Jackson Smith-Njigba? Ooh, man, that's tough. I got to be honest with you. That is a really tough one. I like both players. I think they both have a lot of upside. And I think that they both could be league-winning types of players if all the right things happen. So when I look at that, when I look at the upside, I like the upside of both players. I had to look at the path for both of those guys. The path for Jackson Smith-Njigba to be a league-winning type of player is easier than it is for Tyjae Spears. Because Tyjae Spears is at a position where they're only going to use one of them for the most part, but Tyjae Spears does get the third down work consistently. So he's usually seeing 12 opportunities per game. Jackson Smith-Njigba has a clearer path, I think, to becoming a league winner than Tyjae Spears. Man, I'd really like to see who else you have to drop. I really don't want to drop Tyjae Spears for him, but I would. I would drop Tyjae Spears for Jackson Smith-Njigba because I think he has a clear path to greatness in fantasy football this year than Tyjae Spears does. So I think I would go with Tyjae. I would go with Jackson Smith-Njigba, but if you've got other guys that you could drop, I could drop Deontay or Debo. Yeah, man, it's tough, man. It really is. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. What do y'all think? Put it in the chat below. Would you drop Tyjae Spears for Jackson Smith-Njigba? Better yet, who do you prefer on your team? Tyjae Spears or Jackson Smith-Njigba? Tell me in the comments below. I'll tell you, I do prefer Jackson Smith-Njigba over Tyjae Spears, and over the guys that you've gotten here, I would drop him, unfortunately. I would. Honestly, I would try to trade Tyjae Spears before that, because as you can see right here, people are saying don't drop him. Tyjae Spears has trade value. He's got trade value, man. So I would try to trade him before I dropped him right now. Again, curious, guys, who do you prefer on your fantasy team? Jackson Smith-Njigba or Tyjae Spears? Put it in the chat below. Okay, guys, I hit 80 likes on this video. We're giving away an FFN hat at the end of the live stream, which will be in about 20 minutes from now, guys. So go down there, help me get to 90 just for fun. Just because you show support, show me what you got here. Go down there, drop a like on the video, and subscribe to the channel to show your support. Either way, we're giving away a hat since we got to 80 likes. But just help me out. Just show your support by liking the video and subscribing. Okay, we're going to go ahead and try to answer as many questions as possible. Okay, so Trevor Augustus, by the way, I appreciate the super chat. Damo was just offered Breece Hall and Christian Watson for Derrick Henry, Darrell Henderson, and George Pickens. Currently have Waddle, Cup, and Ridley at wide receiver, along with Kamara and Monty. Do I accept this offer? So when I look at this, you're getting Breece Hall and you're getting Christian Watson for Derrick Henry, Darrell Henderson, and Pickens. Breece Hall is the better, in my opinion, the more upside running back than Derrick Henry is. But when I look at it, like, it's not that far off. Like, honestly, like, I like Brees Hall, the player, a lot, but Derrick Henry is not a bad option in fantasy. He's just not. Like, he's still a good running back 2 option in fantasy. And Brees Hall is a little bit above him because he's going to continue to handle the majority, but the offensive upside is not good either way. I prefer Brees Hall, but they're very close. So I'm not willing to give up a ton in addition to get Brees Hall. And you're giving up George Pickens, who, in my opinion, very, very close with Christian Watson. And you also have to give up Darrell Henderson. It's close, man. It's close. I would go ahead and take Brees Hall in this trade because Brees Hall, I do prefer him in fantasy the rest of the season over Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry could be a descending asset, but I will say, like, for me personally, what I would try to do, since I'm like this, I'm that jerk in trades who's like, give me this guy, or it's not happening. Like, I negotiate with people all the time in fantasy football trades. So what I would do personally is I would tell them, hey, listen, George Pickens is way better than Christian Watson. So let me take Darrell Henderson out of the deal, or give me Fab in addition, and we'll make it a deal. That's what I would do personally. Alec Hender, what's going on? Start Chuba, DeMarcado, Shaheed, or Douglas at the flex. That's tough, man. That's a tough list right there. I will go with Rashid Shaheed though, because Rashid Shaheed does have big playability every single week. He's got big playability, and Douglas would be my next pick here personally, but I'll go with Rashid Shaheed. Why so serious? Full PPR, need 3 of 4. Keenan, Nakua, CD, Nico Collins. I'm going with Keenan for sure. I'm going with Nico for sure. And I'm going to go with, man, it's tough. They're great options. All of them are great options. You can't go wrong with any of them. But I'll be honest here, I do prefer Puka Nakua over CD Lamb. I think Puka's a great option, guys. The guy has been, first of all, since Cooper Kupp has returned, Puka Nakua has led this team in targets still in the time frame with Cooper Kupp. He's still beating Cooper Kupp in targets. Puka Nakua is the real deal, guys. I'm telling you. He is the real deal. So I will go with him over CeeDee Lamb. But again, great options here. You can't go wrong with any of them. Patrick Lebosier, what's going on, man? Madison, Ford, or Hunt, any injury updates? Much love. Love the vids. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate your support every single day. Madison, Ford, or Hunt. Yeah, this one I got to go with Kareem Hunt. If Kareem Hunt is, Jerome Ford, let's see if we can get an injury update on Jerome Ford. Let's see if we can find out if he's playing. Jerome Ford right now. Let's see what we got. Jerome Ford wants and intends to play versus the Seahawks. Doesn't do much for me. Jerome Ford, is he Jerome Ford is a 3:00 game. We do not know enough here to say Jerome Ford's playing or not. So I'll take Kareem Hunt. I think even if Jerome Ford does play, Kareem Hunt has more upside than Alexander Madison. So I will go with Kareem Hunt either way here. Shane Murphy, Ravens or Falcons defense? Ravens defense without a question in my mind. Love the Ravens defense. Okay, let's keep on moving through. RJ Bakani, gotta flex one. Kirk, Myers, or Smith. Yeah, they're all close. They're all really close. I think the matchups, none of them have an advantage, to be honest with you. Except maybe Devonta Smith. I do think that he has a matchup advantage, but I do look at this situation and I'm like, Christian Kirk, as I've been saying throughout this live stream, Christian Kirk is in a great matchup today. Patrick Peterson, Levi Wallace, the two Steelers starting quarterbacks, they've given up over 600 yards combined. Christian Kirk's got a great matchup today for the Jaguars. I got to go with Christian Kirk here. In my order, it would be Kirk, then Myers, then Devonta Smith. Lex plant some trees. Who are your other options? Okay, that was another question to somebody else. Jammer 1959. I have two. Start two. Who should I start? Jalen Waddle, Terry McLaurin, Nico Collins, or Zay Flowers right now? Yeah, great question. So we've got to start 2 out of this group. Nico Collins is in there for sure. Nico Collins, I think, is a fantastic option. I've been saying it. I'm big on Nico Collins. I'm a big Nico Collins guy. In this matchup against the Panthers, no way I'm sitting him. Nico Collins for sure. When I look at Jalen Waddle and Zay Flowers, they're actually relatively close to me this week. When I look at the matchups here, Jalen Waddle's in a division matchup, which I do think, even though it's the Patriots, division matchups are tough. Heck, the first time they played Dolphins and Patriots, the Dolphins almost lost. So the Patriots, no division weaknesses. Bill Belichick. Can you imagine the scouting file he has on the Dolphins? It's extensive. So I do think that there is some truth to that. Zay Flowers is 2 spots above Jalen Waddle in my rankings this week because the matchup is great. And the matchup always with Zay Flowers is that he gets around 8 targets per game. The upside is there. I'll go with Zay Flowers in this matchup here personally. Guys, like I said, I'm going to be on here for another 15 minutes, and then we will be giving away an FFN hat at the end of this live stream, guys, because you help me hit 80 likes on this video here, guys. So go down there, just show your support. Help me get to 90 likes just for fun. Drop the like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. As you can see how full this chat is right now, I'm working my way from top to bottom. So I'm not going to get through all these questions, guys. If you want to make sure that you get your question answered, if you can, the best way to do it is through a super chat donation, guys. Either way, I'm trying to get through as many questions as possible, and I appreciate you guys being on here, man. Love being on here talking with you guys about fantasy. DeAndre Robinson, Detroit defense or 49ers defense this week? Great question. Easily going with Detroit. Listen, the 49ers defense is not must start right now. They're just not. Their defense is having a lot of issues, and it's mostly in the pass. It's not good. You got to go with Detroit's defense here. They're playing the Rams, or they're playing the Raiders at home. They're going to be pissed. Pissed. They're coming off a bad loss to the Ravens. They got embarrassed. They got bludgeoned. They got humiliated. They're coming into this game in Detroit, playing the Raiders. Detroit's going to be a great defense this week. I got Detroit's defense all day. Caden Braha. I probably just butchered that. Do I start Njoku or Jake Ferguson? I got to go with Njoku here. The reason I'm going with Njoku is because Njoku has been, like I said, with PJ Walker, Njoku is a highly targeted option. And he's got more upside than Jake Ferguson. I get it. Like Jake Ferguson, a tight end on Dallas is usually a good option. I got to go with Njoku, though. The upside, I think, is a lot higher. Adrian Hernandez, appreciate the super chat. Flex, George Pickens, Tank Dell, or DJ Moore. Also, who would you start, Jerome Ford or Roschon Johnson? Do you still have the Jets defense this week? Okay, so we got to go one by one. First part of this is George Pickens, Tank Dell, DJ Moore. So Pickens and DJ Moore are relatively close to each other. The reason I'm going to go with DJ Moore here is because he's clearly the wide receiver 1. We know his target share is always going to be there. And he's also in a better matchup. The Chargers defense can't defend the pass to save their life. The Chargers defense is a mess. And it's not that they don't have talent. Their coaching is a mess. So the Chargers defense is so vulnerable, even to a Tyson Bagent. And I think that when I look at George Pickens, the upside there is always going to be there because Pickens is a great player. The problem is with Deontay Johnson back, with Deontay Johnson, he could definitely see 5 targets in a game. And against the Jaguars defense in that secondary, I don't love the matchup. So if Kenny Pickett can't get it to George Pickens at least 7, 8 targets, I don't think his matchup is quite as high this week. So I'll go with DJ Moore. It's very close, but I got to nitpick when it's that close. Also, who would you start, Jerome Ford or Roschon? I will go ahead and play Jerome Ford if he plays, which is good because Roschon Johnson is playing tonight. So we'll know one way or the other here by 3 o'clock what you could do. And if Jerome Ford plays, I'll play Jerome Ford over Roschon. Do you still love the Jets defense this week? Yes, I do. 100%. I think the Jets defense is fantastic. There not much has changed. I mean, not only is the Jets matchup excellent, not only is the Jets defense excellent, they're getting back Sauce Gardner. And remind you guys, the Jets defense beat the Eagles defense and held them to less than 15 points without Sauce Gardner. This defense is elite, and they're playing the Giants this week. I absolutely love the Jets defense this week. If you've got the Jets defense, load them up, fire them up with full confidence, man. I love the Jets defense this week so much. So, yeah, I will go ahead and go with the Jets defense. I'll go with Jerome Ford, and I'll go with DJ Moore. And again, Adrian, appreciate the super chat right here. I've got 10 minutes trying to get through as many questions as possible right now, guys. Casey Sanborn, D-Hop or Dobbs? I will go with Romeo Dobbs. It sounds crazy to say that, but I will go with him. It's bad. I mean, guys, if you don't know this, we may see Will Levis and Malik Willis sharing snaps at the quarterback position for the Tennessee Titans. Yeah, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be really, really bad. So yeah, I'll go ahead and go with Dobbs over DeAndre Hopkins. Christopher King, need help with running back and flex. Should I run Henderson or Jacobs in the running back and Nico Collins or Jacoby in the flex? I'll go with Jacobs for sure. Jacobs, regardless of like what I think about the matchup and what I think about him, he's still got more upside than Darrell Henderson does. I'll go with Nico Collins in the flex as well. Love Nico Collins. Been saying it all day long. Kirk or Thielen? I will go with Thielen because Thielen is more consistently involved and he's got more consistent upside on the Carolina Panthers. He sees a ridiculous target share, and the guy has been playing really, really well this year. Rich Herrera, Foreman, or Ridley? I will go with Ridley here because I know the matchup is great. And with Foreman, the Chargers defense is not good, but their weakness is on their passing defense. It's not as much with the run defense. I will go ahead and go with Ridley. All right, guys, I got about 5 more minutes here where I'm answering as many questions as possible, and then we will give away another FFN hat at the end of this live stream, guys. So go down there, drop a like on this video, and subscribe to the channel to have a chance to win this hat, guys. I appreciate all of you for being here. We're going to pick a random hat winner by closing our eyes, scrolling through, and wherever my mouse lands on when I open my eyes, that's the winner of the hat. So, guys, thank you for being in here. Answering a couple more questions before we give away this hat. Zinthos, do you think I should start Devonta or Zay? I will definitely be starting Zay. Zay is several spots above Devonta Smith for me, and I love Zay Flowers' upside in this matchup versus Arizona. Listen, Devonta Smith's upside in the matchup is fantastic, but like it's Zay Flowers just more consistent right now with volume and target share. So I'll go with Zay Flowers here. Christopher King. Pick 2 running backs. Josh Jacobs, Henderson, Warren, or Gus. Nico Collins or Jacoby Myers. Okay, we're going to pick 2 running backs. We're going with Jacobs here, and then we're going to go with Gus. And then we've got Nico or Jacoby Myers. I will go with Nico here for sure. We're going to try to move through as many as possible. Jordan Addison, Thielen, or Kirk flex. That's a close one because Jordan Addison and Thielen are very, very close to me. I will edge out Adam Thielen with Jordan. I will go ahead and play with Adam Thielen this week because he's been so consistently their number 1 target this year. And Jordan Addison's been great, but so is Adam Thielen. There's no right or wrong answer here with this one. I prefer Adam Thielen because I know the target share is always there. And the first week that Jordan Addison played without Justin Jefferson, they gave more targets to KJ Osborne. So it's always up for debate. You know, that's the deal here, guys. I will go ahead and go with Thielen over Addison ever so slightly. Start Brock Purdy or Kirk Cousins. I will go ahead and play Kirk Cousins. The dude played really well last week, and also because of the situation with Brock Purdy, and he may or may not do well today. The matchup is just tougher though for Brock Purdy. Um, Johnny Jackson, what's up? I'm between McLaurin, Aaron Jones, and Jacoby Myers for flex spot. I would go with Jacoby Myers here. Been more consistent than all of them, and the matchup, against the Lions, they're gonna have to throw the ball a ton. Baron, we thinking Tank Dell or Higgins in full PPR. We'll go with Higgins for sure. What running back would you start out of these two, Hunt or Mixon? I will definitely go with Hunt I'll go with Hunt either way. I think they're both. I think Hunt's got the higher upside this week than Mixon does. Mixon's got a really bad matchup against the 49ers defense. They're very strong run defense, man. So I will go with that. Jordan Addison or Zay, I'll go with Jordan Addison. He's just in a different tier to me than Zay Flowers is. Okay. Let's see what we've got here. I see a lot of repeat questions, guys. It's tough to get through when the chat gets spammed with the same question. Got to be respectful of everybody in the community here. Anthony, T. Higgins or Christian Kirk, standard league? Standard league, that makes it tough because it's hard to go with T. Higgins if I know that his volume is not going to be there. Whereas I know that Christian Kirk is going to get consistent volume. So I got to go with Christian Kirk in this situation. Anthony, yeah, we just answered that one. Jeff Peters, Joshua Palmer, Darrell Henderson, Michael Thomas, Jackson with the Jigba. Also got Quentin Johnson. Quentin Johnson is irrelevant in this conversation. I would go Joshua Palmer, but again, he's a Sunday night game and he's questionable and he's a true game time decision. Can't tell my audience to play a guy who's playing on Sunday night and is a game time decision. Can't do it. So I will go ahead and go with Jackson Smith and Jigba here because I think his upside is higher than it is with Darrell Henderson and Michael Thomas. T. Higgins or Josh Downs flex. I will go with T. Higgins. Chadley, start Cousins or Trevor Lawrence. I actually will start Kirk Cousins over Trevor Lawrence. I will do that here. That's exactly what I will do. Couple more questions, guys, I'm trying to get through right here before we give away this FFN hat right here, guys. So, man, I can't wait to give away this hat. I already gave away one hat earlier in the live stream. So go down there, drop a like on the video, and subscribe to the channel to have a chance to win this FFN hat right now, guys. Appreciate y'all being in here. Okay. So, Great Scott, happy Sunday, where we all get a W. Yes, you bet we will. Let's all get W's today, guys. What do you think of my starting lineup, full PPR? Josh Allen, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, Alvin Kamara, Breece Hall, Adam Thielen, Darrell Henderson, Darren Waller, Jets defense, and Jake Elliott. Looks fantastic. You've got, obviously, the upside that you had with Josh Allen the other night. A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, fantastic wide receiver duo right there. Alvin Kamara, Breece Hall, love them this week. Adam Thielen, fantastic flex. And then Darren Waller may have to make a change here. I don't think you will, though, because I do think Darren Waller is expected to play at this point. Jets defense is great. Jake Elliott's a great kicker. Love the matchup right there. King Smoker, good show. Appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. Christopher King, please pick two. Henderson, Jacobs, Gus, Warren. I will go with Jacobs for sure, and then I will go with Gus Edwards. William Bryant, this is a tough one. Ramondre or Mixon full PPR. That is tough. I will tell you guys that right now. That is not an easy one right there. Man, that's tough because Ramondre splits touches. The offensive upside is so low, and he's also just, the matchup is good, though. Joe Mixon, the matchup is bad, but he does handle 100%, and he's on a better offense. I'll go with Joe Mixon here over Ramondre Stevenson. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Tyreek carries my fantasy football team. Pick two running backs to start. Raheem Mostert, Saquon Barkley, Kenneth Walker, or Isaiah Pacheco. Really appreciate it if you guys help me. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween to you too. So we're picking two right here. So you've obviously got great options right here. you can't go wrong with any of them. That's the truth. You cannot go wrong with any of them. I would try to find a spot for all of them here, but here's what we will do. When I look through my running back rankings this week, Raheem Mostert, the matchup against the Patriots on paper may not sound great, but the last time he played the Patriots this year, he had 2 touchdowns and 130 plus yards. He's been great because they're trying to take away Tyreek Hill from this matchup. So they're going to focus on Tyreek Hill, which is going to leave a lot of opportunities for Raheem Mostert. Can't sit Mostert this week. Isaiah Pacheco, I would not sit him either because he's taking on the Broncos defense, which is dead last in stopping the run this year. Dead last. And Mahomes is, he's got an illness, so they may run with Isaiah Pacheco quite a bit. I got to go with Isaiah Pacheco here, and I will go with Raheem Mostert. So I will go with Raheem Mostert and Isaiah Pacheco, guys. All right, guys, it is time. It is time to give away the FFN hat live on air as we continue to just do live streams with you guys. It's been awesome. I've been extremely happy with you guys. So if you do not win the hat right now, guys, there will be other opportunities. I'm giving away hats. I won't be giving away as many until I hit 7,500 subscribers. So help me hit 7,500 subscribers by going down there, dropping a like on this video to show support, and to subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. But we will go ahead. I will close my eyes right here. And wherever my mouse lands on, that is the winner of this FFN hat right now, guys. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Adrian Hernandez is the winner of the FFN hat right now, guys. Adrian, what you need to do is go to my kickers ranking video of the week. Put it in the comments that you were the winner of the hat. Email me, and I will go ahead and send your free hat to you guys. So, Adrian, congratulations on winning the hat right now. I appreciate all of y'all being in here today. It has been a great live stream. And, guys, like I said, there's going to be more opportunities to win hats. So, help me get to 7,500 subscribers by going down there, dropping a like, and subscribing to the channel. Let's go get a W today, guys. I appreciate y'all being here, and I will see you guys on the next video tomorrow. Peace out. Let's all get a W today.